Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 12th day of April 2024. It is Friday of the second week of Easter, the 13th day of the Easter season. I'm still in Assisi for various meetings and things, but here I am at the Piazza San Rufino, the Cathedral of San Rufino in Assisi over here, the main church, the cathedral of the city of Assisi. Cathedral San Rufino, called that because it contains the remains of San Rufino, martyred about 1258 or so. He is the patron saint, technically, of Assisi. So before there was a Francis, there was Rufino. And so he kind of maintains that kind of status, sharing it with Francis as patrons of Assisi itself. So again, another beautiful day. It is going to be very warm here in Assisi. They're getting a hot spell, so that's great. I'm wearing a habit too and everything else like that. So behind me over here, however, is where tradition holds, was the house of the Ortolana family, Clare's family, St. Clare's family. As tradition holds true, if this is, Clare's family had their house butting up against the cathedral itself, which again, because of their wealth and prestige, is not out of the question that it was. And it could have been here that she saw Francis perhaps coming and going from the cathedral at times, and having him preach here in the piazza would have been something she would have been familiar seeing, and perhaps is what motivated her to be able to follow him. But on this Wednesday of the second week of Easter, Acts of the Apostles, again, they are being brought before the Sanhedrin again and again and again and again, because they are preaching and they don't like what they're preaching, and they're trying to stop them from preaching. And one of the members of the Sanhedrin, Gamaliel, who is the teacher of St. Paul, stands up and cautions the Sanhedrin about acting justly against the apostles, because, as he says, you may find yourself fighting against God. And that's an important realization. Now, of course, the Sanhedrin doesn't heed Gamaliel at all, and so they beat and they scourge, or whatever it is, the apostles, and send them on their way. And the apostles are delighted to suffer because of the name of Jesus, which, again, is this interesting kind of, rationalization of everything that's going on inside. But Gamaliel's words, about what it means to fight against God. And sometimes, again, we want things our way, and we think that things only can be one way. And when they're not, we try to get rid of those things that stand in the way of the one way that we want, life to be, that we want this world to be. And that can get us into trouble, because are we not listening to the Spirit then? Are we not paying attention to what the Spirit is saying to us and being led by the Spirit? And that's, important to realize, because God does not work in ways that we work, and God does not live in the kind of structured life that we want our lives to be in. Even though we talk about freedoms and being able to do what it is that we want and live the way that we want, sometimes, again, we want our world just in a certain way. And when it gets riled or ruffled, we want to do away with all that's riling and ruffling it. That may be, to our undoing at times, and it may cause us to lose sight of the activity of God in our lives and the wonder and beauty of God in our lives. And so to be conscious of those times when we may indeed be fighting against God because we are not listening to the will of the Spirit is something, again, that Easter is asking us to make sure that we are aware of, to trust God's Spirit, even when it seems outlandish and weird and odd, that it's God's Spirit that's working in our lives. And that's going to lead us to something unexpected and wonderful and beautiful. That is what happens in today's gospel, from John, and which is the feeding of the 5,000, something we hear again every year in other times, other places, but hearing it now with the ears of Easter. A God who provides, a God who knows what he is doing, a God basically who will take care in ways that we cannot imagine at times, in which we may not believe, but that doesn't stop God from working and caring. Maybe we can get more of an idea of how much God cares about us when we stop being incredulous, when we stop being suspicious, when we stop on not believing and thinking that God cannot do what God says God is going to do, but follow along more with what it is that God is doing, and allow what God is doing to enrich and renew ourselves. A continued blessed Easter and a blessed Easter season. St. Francis and people of God, may the Lord give you his peace.